peace and love. Please disregard my hair. I've taken out my locks, or I was starting locks, and I watched so many videos that led me to believe that I've made mine a little too thick, so just allow my hair to look like a mad scientist and all will be well. I already know, though, that most of you probably already understand how I'm feeling right now, because I'm going to be titling this video based on the fact that as an 8th house stellium person, this is actually one of the first nights in a long night. Can you tell? This has been one of the first nights in a long time that I've been able to just like be up in the middle of the night and just like be awake. And I miss doing that so much, like, especially as an 8th house stellium person. I had a feeling like tonight everyone had kind of gone to sleep already, and my energy is just like, it just keeps going up. It just keeps like every night I'm slowly like wanting to stay up later because my schedule's kind of shifting and things are changing. And if you have been subscribed, then you know what's up, and if you haven't, hello, welcome. There are a lot of crazy things that have been shifting and occurring within my present now, based on trusting spirit and having faith in the changes that I'm making in order to be on my actual path and do what I've been sent down here to this earthly plane to do. Oh, 1:44 when I looked at the time. If you know, you know. And so I just wanted to get on here and kind of chat with some 8th house people, because those are the videos I get the most love and comments and response and energetic exchange on. And I mean, I guess, you know, Scorpio energy too, just like anything that has to do with life, death, light, dark, light, shadow. Until I'm here in the middle of the night, I'm feeling really good, and then I realized I'd actually put on my calendar to talk about the next upcoming Sabbath, and I feel bad because I haven't been speaking about each of them on here, but it's called the Palace of Persephone, so you already know I had to talk about Ostara coming. And I have my Book of Shadows right here. It's a tarot deck that I like to use. And in the As Above version, it has some of the major arcana linked to the Sabbats. So the Temperance card is Ostara, and I'll show you. I don't know if I can get the cards out. I might get the card out for you after. But essentially, if you can see her here. Oh, I guess that counts as a card, doesn't it? There she is. And what I like about this book is it essentially explains to you about the Sabbath, what it represents. And as you know, I guess I can just read it so that way I can quote. Pagans celebrate as the world is filled with new life as the goddess, in the form of the maiden, returns to the land from the underworld. Persephone. Ostara is a playful celebration of spring, new life, fertility. The air is alive with potential. Very true. Because this holiday falls on an equinox, balance is an important aspect, but perhaps even more than that, fertility is celebrated. Seasonally speaking, death and winter are truly conquered, and the god and goddess, have returned to the land from the underworld. And I'll stop right there, because what I find really interesting about that is I feel very closely linked with the energy of Persephone, just based on my own experience. And if you've seen anything on my channel about me, like just being called to go to Colorado and go live with my grandfather, and then working at a crystal shop, and then that not working out, so I ran away and I lived out of my car, and I just kind of traveled across the West Coast for a while, and I felt called to, it's just a whole long thing. But essentially, what I didn't realize was that when I left Virginia, I was leaving an energy of a person that I didn't know I'd be coming back to, descent, and then coming back up for spring. That has definitely occurred. And what I really find interesting is that I was speaking with my partner about this, because I feel such a strong association and link to Persephone and feel really connected to her story. I remember telling him, I was like, I feel like I know so many things about what actually occurs as Persephone descends into the underworld, what she is doing down there. And I just told him recently that I also felt like it wasn't just her coming up from the underworld. She is lifting up the divine masculine with her as well. And so I also feel that Hades, although I just listened to a podcast by Ecstasy Vine, and she pronounced it Hades, and she's from Greece, so I'm kind of like, oh snap, have I been saying it wrong? So I believe that Persephone and Hades come up from the underworld and have a beautiful and abundant bounty to share with everyone. Then they both descend. I feel like they do it as a duo, especially if they're equal to one another, ruling on their thrones, and he really loved her that much and let her rule equal to him, which no other Greek god did or was ever as faithful as Hades was. So, like, to me, it's like, well, obviously he's gonna come up with her. So I thought it was interesting that my book said the god and the goddess come up. That's just a little side note tangent. Like I said, I'm kind of just like in awe and shock that I'm up in the middle of the night. So I'm just kind of like vibing out with you guys. But I just wanted to also kind of just speak on ostara in general. Anyway, so as a Sabbath of the year, I'm trying to get a little bit, like informational for you so you can feel like you received something deeply in this video. Ostara as the Sabbath of the year is the time when Persephone does rise up from the underworld, and I'm trying to make sure I don't get Hamilton stuck in my head now because all I'm hearing is rise up, rise up. But for a lot of us, and I guess it's different if you don't live somewhere cold, but this year I have lived somewhere cold. The last time I was living in Florida, so you don't really feel the cold. But it is a call and a time to go internally, and I truly feel that when Persephone descends into the underworld and she is spending her time of year there, a lot of deep introspection occurs, a lot of deep shadow work occurs, a lot of like really looking at yourself and letting parts of yourself that no longer serve die and go off into the fields of asphodel, if you will. I feel like a lot of that occurs in this time of year, or we should be doing that, like all of us, not just, Persephone or those who are into chthonic goddesses. I feel like ostara is a symbol almost for entering into a new portal of being. And so it's not like just the rise up into like the above world. To me personally, I'm just gonna be real with y'all. I believe that planet Earth, this plane of existence that you and I as humans are living on, is the underworld. That's my personal opinion. That's what I believe. That's my perspective from my eye. And that doesn't mean it has to be yours, but this is where my thought process is coming from. So I remember sitting one day and just kind of being like, especially when I was reading more about the mythology of Hades and Zeus and Poseidon, and Zeus ruling the sky, Poseidon the sea, and Hades the underworld, I was like, so the earth? Like, to me, that sounds like the earth, and he rules over crystals and stones and gems and stuff. And then Tartarus, I imagine being underneath the earth, like where the molten lava is, the bad part of the underworld, because then there is also Elysium, and that's supposed to be where everyone who's lived a good life and done their work gets to just be in paradise. To me, that's the earth plane. To me, the earth is the underworld. And sorry, my spirit guides are like coming in real strong right now. I don't have my Persephone stone, but they told me to hold the stone really quick while I talk about this, so thank you, spirit. So I believe that the earth plane is the underworld, and it's our choice. It's like if Hades is ruling the land of the dead, that we have people walking around this earth who are dead. They're just the living dead because they're just walking around brainwashed and unawakened and numb. They're walking around like little soulless beings when really we all have that ability to be awakened. We have the ability to wake up and recognize that in the underworld, because the underworld wasn't just a hell. The underworld was a heaven, a hell. It was a bunch of different places. So for those who are awakened and understand their divine sovereignty, they are in Elysium. They are walking this plane of existence on this earth in paradise. And there are those who are stuck in their karma, they're stuck in their patterns, they're stuck in their pain, they're torturing themselves, and they're putting themselves into Tartarus. And then there are others who are wandering along the river Styx, stuck staring at a phone, just don't know where to go. To me, like I said, I'm just kind of getting interesting little tangents here. That's what I'm starting with, that in terms of thinking, okay, so, Zeus, sky, Poseidon, sea, earth, underworld, energy. So in my belief that the earth is the underworld, and this is where everything is residing, I kind of even don't remember where I was going with that, but let me sit for a moment and backtrack myself. So in my belief that the earth plane is the underworld, to me the experiences that we're all having are an opportunity for us to be doing some shadow work or to be doing some light work. And you cannot have light without shadow. And so for a lot of us, or I feel like as a collective, we can take a lot from the story of Hades and Persephone on this earth plane. And for me personally, maybe that's what I was getting to. It was like circling back around. Considering the world to be the underworld plane, a lot of the experiences that we have here are about choosing to descend into and this is the most important journey that we're going to take in our lifetime, is the journey within ourselves. Know thyself. Knowing thyself is one of the strongest tools you can own, because when you know you and how you work and what you love and what you feel and what doesn't resonate, nothing in this world can manipulate you, because you know you. Know thyself is one of the strongest things that I've gotten from my own personal journey. And so, sitting with myself and sitting in this winter time and sitting and, basically from Mabon, which is the autumnal equinox when Persephone descends, it's a perfect time for all of us, not just as an 8th house stellium person, it's a perfect time for all of us to be able to sit with the things within ourselves, the darkness within ourselves, the shadow within ourselves, and to release a lot of that. And for me this winter, it's been so many things. It's been a lot of self-worth blocks, a lot of limiting beliefs that I was holding on to from childhood that I had to heal, a lot of things coming up from childhood, really, for me to heal this winter time around. And so, I know where I was going with this. Okay, I circled back around my own way. And so, going through all of these shadow things within my partnerships, within relationships, within friendships, there have been all these things that have been coming up. And I always find it important to look and zoom in on those things, because those are the things that are going to help me understand myself better and release things that aren't me, that are programming, that no longer serve me if I'm stepping into some divine sovereignty. And so in doing that, you're doing all this work over the winter, which is what we're supposed to be doing, sitting and doing that kind of reflection. Then when spring comes and we enter into this portal, it is about entering into the world card. It's about entering like the world card into the fool card. And then we're really just, like you're blinking your eyes, you're like, okay, so I've released all of that. I've released all of these things over the winter that really rose up for me to see, because I sat long enough to see them. I reflected long enough to notice them. I didn't move and allow the water to become still enough so that I could see. I could see the ripples that I had been making. I can understand where that's coming from. The water gets still enough and you recognize there's someone across the lake who's like touching the water and creating the ripple. It's not even you. Those are just some of my thoughts. And so I'm trying not to make the video too long, so I don't know how I'm going to summate this in the next 5 minutes, but that's what I'm going to try to do. And some things are coming out. It's a really interesting little weaving of thoughts that are coming together for me. But like I said, it's been a long time since I've been up in the middle of the night. And yeah, ostara coming this year, this spring equinox, especially at the time that we're in with all these planets in Pisces and Aquarius is a beautiful, wonderful time, if you haven't already, to just own the things that you do. Ask others around you for true reflections of you. You know you can trust their response. Don't get triggered by the projection or the reflection. Sit with it, look at it, think about it, take what resonates, and then don't claim it as yours, but rather decide whether or not you want to continue doing that and just throw it away. Just take it off of your body. For me, some of those things have really come up from self-worth, being brought information that didn't resonate with me and triggered me and then made me sit with some self-esteem. And I was like, wait, why am I allowing that to affect me? And sitting and looking at it, recognizing where it comes from. Okay, so this is because all of my life I was told this or told that or made fun of for this, and I slowly was diminishing myself over time. And so when I hear information like this, it triggers me because it brings back all of these other things I haven't healed. So I recognize that. I say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Because in every now moment we have the option to just be like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And I throw it away. So throwing away all of these old things that don't serve us, and sitting in that shadow over the winter is so necessary to truly celebrate ostara. That's what we're getting at. It's there. The spring equinox will mean something to you if you've been able to sit since the autumnal equinox, the things that have come up. And I guarantee you, I wanted to curse right there, but I didn't. I guarantee you that since the autumnal equinox to the spring equinox, so much has happened for you. Falling outs with people you didn't expect, changes in your job you didn't expect, changes within yourself, within your home life, within your relationships. Change, and rapid change, because things are shifting rapidly in order for us to be shaking off things that don't serve and entering into our highest timelines. And so the only true way to really enjoy this spring, this ostara, to feel that fertility, to feel that celebration, is to go into it reborn, to go into it having leveled up over the winter, having been like, oh yeah, I learned this about myself. Oh yeah, I released that. Oh yeah, this came up to be triggered for this reason, and we celebrate that and we give thanks to Spirit for those things. And that's essentially what I've been doing. And like, if you guys want to hear about some of that stuff more in detail, let me know, because I wasn't just gonna like offer up all this information if it wasn't necessarily even interesting to hear. But I have received so many lessons since this autumnal equinox that just passed, 2021. If you're watching this later, so many things that have come up for me to really look at, and to ask people around me to be like, tell me the truth. Do you see this within me? So I make sure I'm actually doing the work that needs to be done, and I'm very proud of myself for everything I did over this winter. And any 8th house stellium person can kind of just be used to doing it, I think, and encouraging that within those within your sphere, because as an 8th house stellium person, if you are one watching this, your touch on those around you is so much stronger than I realized. I personally realized now that I'm spending more time around people, because usually I'm just used to being by myself, as I'm spending time around other people and kind of standing more in my energy and letting some of my thoughts out and some of my like perspective out, I notice how much it really does make space for transformation, or for things to be brought to light, or secrets to come out, or like these things that people don't expect to experience to come out. I'm grateful for that. So I think maybe as an ethos stellium, this kind of work is normal to me. But I am ready for the day when I am at a place where I don't have as much to do over the winter except to rest. So I'm really releasing some things this winter, and I'm ready for ostara. I trust that you will be too, and that this video, if you haven't already, will be a great little nudge for you to take a moment and just sit and think about from September up until March, and think about the things that happened, and what part you played in it, and what part others did, and what you learned from that. I always find it important to sit with those things. So if you want to like leave it in the comment, you can leave it in the comments so we can chat, or you can just do it by yourself, however you want to do it, whatever resonates. I'm almost at 20 minutes, so thanks for sitting here and hanging out with me in the middle of the night and listening to me ramble. It felt really good to just let some thoughts out into the dark. where the energy just feels right. I trust this winter has treated you well. I trust you are living vibrantly in this underworld and choosing to be in Elysium and not in the River Styx or in Tartarus, and you're choosing to stay consciously aware and awake at all times. Oh, thanks for listening and hanging out. I trust you will stay open to the signs and synchronicities you will be receiving throughout the remainder of your day or your night, wherever you may be. All right. And until next time, I am sending you peace,